I know that everyone and their grandma is doing a video on this game, but this is what I've been playing, so the Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon and Terraria 100 Day videos are gonna have to wait. I'm Sam the Ashen, and this is Elden Ring Nightreign. To start off, I honestly wasn't planning on spending the money to buy Nightreign, because the concept of multiplayer shrinking storm map didn't feel like it would be fun enough in a FromSoft universe, even though I am a die-hard Souls fan. But I really don't like this format of game in general. Warzone and Fortnite are wildly popular, but I never liked them. But a good friend of mine bought Nightreign and we console share, so I didn't have much to lose by giving it a try. From the time I downloaded and played on day one and the time of this video, there's been a few updates. People complained that the game was too hard, especially for solos, so FromSoft did do a rebalance, and the solo does feel a little bit more manageable now. I died on the first day, maybe the second day, a lot of times. And if I did manage to make it to the final boss, I got wrecked. But I never thought this needs to be made easier. That's because a big part of the Souls gameplay loop is trying, dying, and learning from your mistakes. Gain power through levels and gears, become a more skilled player, and maybe, most importantly, learn the boss's movesets. I think it's pretty much the same with Nightreign, and to really oversimplify it, it's a roguelite about managing your time, planning your route, and becoming stronger. The game is really hard, but it does feel fair enough to me, not because I'm good, but because I know getting Hulk smashed is part of the learning experience to become better. One aspect that I really like about Nightreign is how they handle permanent progression. Instead of it just being skill-based, there are relics that you can acquire through doing expeditions, beating Night Lords, and doing remembrances. And these are permanent items that you can slot into your character so you can make your own build and have lots of build variety. Even if you're playing the same character as someone else, it's going to be different because of the relics. And while I do honestly wish there was something more to the meta or permanent progression of your character, I don't see that happening because I assume they would have to rebalance everything, maybe make the relics weaker. But just outfits and relics for character builds might be enough. It doesn't feel like it's everything it could be. But still, I think this is a great progression system and an incredibly fun gameplay loop. One of the best things people praise about the FromSoft games are the bosses, and this game has a ton of bosses that are at the core of the gameplay. There's new bosses, all the Night Lords, but there's also a bunch of bosses from the base game, especially for the mini-bosses, which is definitely unfortunate, but they've also brought back bosses from previous Souls games, like the Nameless King, the Gaping Dragon, Duke's Deer Freya, the Smelter Demon, and more. I really enjoyed seeing these bosses brought to a more modern game, even if they're not all perfect. The sheer amount of bosses you'll see is something akin to a boss rush. You beat many bosses, get better weapons and passives, risk fighting a really strong roaming boss for greater rewards, but also risk crippling your run. Then you beat the end of the day boss for even better powers. And finally, the Night Lord on day 3 if you make it there. Of course, there's a lot of RNG or randomness, but there's even more planning, strategy, split decision making, and risk versus reward assessment on top of becoming more skilled at the combat. The main complaints I've seen have a lot to do with multiplayer and difficulty. I agreed with pretty much all the complaints before I played and when I first started, but like I said before, I feel differently now about the difficulty. For the multiplayer complaints, I completely agree though. There should be crossplay, there should be duo matchmaking, there should be in-game voice chat. They are supposedly already bringing duos to the game, so that's one thing that will hopefully be resolved. The voice chat could be solved by having team chat command prompts. I saw a really cool idea on Reddit. Someone said to have a command system similar to Helldivers 2, but have it Soul style. Something like fling required, weak boss ahead, and whatever else. I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to implement this mechanic. Something that surprised me was seeing the vast majority of reviews be either 5 stars or 1 star. So the conclusion being people either loved this game or they hated it, which I guess is true. I don't think the lack of crossplay and voice chat make the game bad overall, but the difficulty, lack of easy entry-level mechanics, and seemingly lack of effort by FromSoft, at least compared to all their other titles, I could definitely see people hating this game. even if I disagree for the most part. On the flip side, the extremely entertaining gameplay loop, the permanent progression from relics, the unlockable outfits for characters, some being characters from previous Souls games like Artorias and Solaire. And then last but not least, the high difficulty, which gives players something to work towards. It requires teamwork. If it was so easy you could beat it right away, the game wouldn't have much replay value. So I enjoy almost everything about Nightreign. I want the problems fixed, I want crossplay added and voice chat or some workaround added, and I really want duo matchmaking, but I also can't wait to see what they add in the future. I'm Sam the Ashen. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, liking it helps me and my channel out a lot. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. If you want to see more from me, subscribe. I post once every other week on Sunday, so I'll never clog up your feed. I hope you have a good one. Peace out.